Stephen Sondheim was a giant of the musical theater, writing music, lyrics, or usually both, for 20 musicals, plus a handful of other projects. Almost every musical theater writer I've ever spoken with or listened to speak about their inspirations will list Sondheim among their top 3 influences. It makes sense. I certainly do. And most musical theater people I know have at least one Sondheim musical in their top 5 favorites of all time. I mean, the man was a genius, and he altered the art form forever. So, what happens when you set out to tier rank all 20 of Sondheim's musicals? How many of you will agree with me? How many of you will disagree with me vehemently? Is musical theater writer guy about to piss off the entire internet of musical theater fans? I mean, I highly doubt it, honestly, but we'll have to see. We'll have to dive in and find out, everybody. But first, if you do not know me, hi, I'm Michael Ratty, aka Musical Theater Writer Guy, aka your musical theater writing coach. I am the founder of the Musical Theater Writing Collective. I teach courses. I educate people on musical theater. I provide community for musical theater writers and spaces for them to work on their material, to develop, write their musicals. So welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you are joining us again. I appreciate you being here. All right. Few things you need to know before we dive into the tier rankings of our shows. First and foremost, let's talk about the tiers and how I thought about each of them so we all know the lay of the land. Okay. Because the idea of tier ranking, I believe, comes from the gamer space. I don't really know. But the top tier in these style of ranking videos is the S tier. I think it stands for superior, question mark. From there, we will go down A through D. Okay, so these are the criteria, and then we will get into each individual show. So S, if something falls in the S tier, they are the best of the best. No arguments. I think at least no arguments. I had to limit myself here to 3, okay, which made it a little bit tougher than it sounded at first. There were a couple I was like, oh, I want to put them in the S tier. I had to like really battle that out. A tier. So we got S. A is so these shows, they're all gorgeous, they're wonderful, they're solid, they're well crafted, they're beloved musicals in their own right. They're wonderful shows. They might not have the same full audience reach as the S tiers, or perhaps they're slightly more niche, or perhaps Sondheim only wrote one aspect of the songs, but they are all fantastic shows. The B tier. These shows are still very solidly good, to the point where it's hard to argue otherwise. But perhaps their appeal is a little more specific, or they aren't as universally beloved, or they feel more like you have to be a Sondheim lover to enjoy them. Okay, so that's what we're considering the B tier. The C tier. These, it's not that these shows are bad by any means, but they don't provide that classic Sondheim feeling of satisfaction. The writing doesn't resonate as well as the higher tiers, or doesn't resonate nearly as universally, and they are perhaps a little bit weird, quirky, out there, whatever term you want to use, etc. And the D tier, the bottom tier, the D tier, these shows just don't feel fully baked. It's more like Sondheim light than true Sondheim. Okay, so S, A, B, C, D. That's how we're doing this. 3 S's only. Okay, now, we will be doing this in the order that they were written and or released. So, buckle up and let's dive in. Also, feel free to tell me you agree or disagree with me in the comments as we go through. There's 20 of these shows. So much. I will give a little bit of reasoning behind these as I go through. Also, like, is today the day that Michael just decided let's piss off the internet? Maybe. Who's to say? Okay. So we're gonna start all the way back in 1954 with the show Saturday Night. Now, if you don't know Saturday Night, I don't blame you. There's very little reason to know Saturday Night. It is not a show that was very popular for any particular reason. Sondheim wrote the full score, I believe, to this one. Yes, this was his first one that he wrote full score to, I believe. But it feels like it's more of a study. There's not really a plot to this show. You can hear, like, going back and listening to the score, which I did again recently, in preparation for this fun video. The things that I was noticing most, first and foremost, were like, it sounds like he's still learning. Sounds like he is still trying to figure out his own voice out of his mentors. And it sounds like he's just trying to figure out character development and plot movement in a score. But there are little glorious hints about things that are going to show up later in his work and in other shows later on. Like, honestly, it's, it's a fine thing to listen to. It's mostly background, it's very light. For me, Saturday Night is the D tier. Detail. It's more of a study. It's like, hey, it's a study. And that's fine. We all need to study, right? Let's not forget that Oscar Hammerstein gave Stephen Sondheim a set of exercises to do in order to prepare him to be a musical theater writer, right? And there were four of those. And Saturday Night, I believe, was the original question mark? I don't remember. All right, anyway, moving forward to 1957, West Side Story. I mean, obviously, this one is going to get a high ranking. Oh, West Side Story is a glorious musical. I think it is a top three musical for me. Just it's a gorgeous marriage of book, music, and lyrics with underlying story, an adaptation of something we all know. It is phenomenally put together. The way that production team worked on the original musical, like you cannot deny that West Side Story is a fantastic musical and one very worth studying as well. And also was like definitely breaking the mold a little bit at the time that it came out. So, 1957 West Side Story, I gave it the A tier, not an S tier. But that's because we're specifically looking at this ranking list through the lens of Sondheim shows. And Sondheim only wrote the lyrics. I like the lyrics. I think the lyrics are good. I mean, the one lyric he says he regretted said, pardon me, oh, Sondheim, said he regretted was in West Side Story. There's a place for us, putting on the highest note there. Doesn't bother me, but it bothered him. And the lyrics are great. But since he only did one part of it, I did end up giving it the A tier. Moving forward in time, number three, we have in 1959, we have Gypsy. Okay, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard, it's closing early on Broadway, so if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It's really good. Audra's fantastic. Gypsy. 1959. Again, Sondheim is writing lyrics only here. So it's not going to get the S tier automatically. But this is a show that I go back to time and time again. That score is phenomenal. The way that Julie Stein's music and Stephen Sondheim's lyrics blend together into something that provides us such depth of character and a bigger than life plot that feels just as sweeping and delusional as Mama Rose, while at the same time giving us emotionality and pulling us through. Uh, I love Arthur Lawrence's book for West Side Story. I don't love the book of Gypsy in the same way. I think it's clunkier. I know that's controversial to say. Understood. But I mean, the sometimes work in Gypsy is just mwah. That show is one of my biggest influences. In addition to West Side Story, it is A tier. Come on, are you gonna fight with me about it? Come on, bring it on. All right, that's 1959. Moving on to 1962. Sondheim, after all the frustration of having to write lyrics only to the past two shows, which were big old hits, he wanted to be back to being the single score writer, music and lyrics. So what do we get to in 1962? A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Okay, if you've never seen this show, first of all, you gotta see this show. It is so very funny. It's also so very dated. Just be warned. There's a lot of things in there that would not fly today, and I wonder why they flew in 1962, but I wasn't alive. It was a different time. That is one of the funniest scripts of all time. And I think what's so very interesting about the way that Sondheim had to write the score for it was that the majority of the music isn't terribly funny because the rest of the show is so packed with humor. It is a farce, and it's a really good farce. that the song moments are almost like a reprieve from the fast-paced comedy and gives you a moment to breathe and sit with the characters a little bit, get almost more emotionality, but it's not deep, right? It's relatively light. But there are things that people want, and it comes through in the music, right? The song Free, right? He wants to be free. But also there are comedy songs, like That'll Show Him is a great 32 bar chorus comedy song. Um, and also, I love the famous story about the opening number rewrite of that show. Ah, just like mwah. It is a very good show, but also it's not the top tier for me. For me, I put it in B. It's got really solid work, but I don't think it shows off what Sondheim can do as a songwriter, right? He didn't have the ability to like lean into the depth of creativity, motifing, musical world building, character establishment that he gets to do in his other shows, which is not really his fault. It's just part and parcel of the type of material he was writing to. And I still very much enjoy the show. And I like the score. But for me, it's a B tier. Ooh, are y'all agreeing with me? Disagreeing with me? Let me know. 1964. What number is this? 5? Yeah. So far we had Saturday Night D, West Side Story A, obvi, Gypsy A, obvi. Funny Thing Happened the Way of the Form B, and now we're in 1964. This is the 5th one. Anyone Can Whistle. Whistle. All right, y'all. This is such a weird show. First time I listened to it, I think I was in college, and I was like, why do we have a couple of bops in here? And then everything else is just very confusing. I had no idea what was happening. Um, Wikipedia wasn't helpful at the time. So I found it and I looked at it and I didn't know what was happening. This is a show where I still am not entirely sure that I know what is happening. I don't know the rules of the world. I really understand why we're here. I understand like the political satire of it all. That much I get. And I mean, I will listen to Angela Lansbury sing anything. And like, we've got a song like Everybody Says Don't in there. Come on. There won't, the song Anyone Can Whistle. There won't be trumpets. Like, there are bangers. But also, why? The quirk is just too quirky for me. It's a really brilliant song, but I don't want to be confused, right? And it's okay to be slightly confused when listening to a cast recording only, especially the older shows, which didn't have as much of full plot work inside their scores. But even just like going back and through and reading it and watching it, I'm still just utterly confused. And a lot of the book work actually does happen in music. Like I think about the cookies sequence. Oh my goodness. But like some of that music is so good. Like the Cookie Chase is excellent music writing. But for me, it's a C. I'm not going to put it full in D tier because there is good merit in there. But Anyone Can Whistle, too weird, too confusing. C. I like weird stuff. Just to qualify. Okay, number 6. The year later, the year after, 1965, the show Do I Hear a Waltz? Okay. Do I Hear a Waltz? I think it's part and parcel of how the show came together and who the writing team was. But once again, this feels like a study for Sondheim. In fact, it feels very much like a study for Follies. And that's not the only show that you can hear bits of coming through in the score of Do I Hear a Waltz? And it is a lovely score. Don't get me wrong. Like, I could put on that album and just be happy to listen to it in the background. But it is truly background music. There are very solid lyrics in there. It doesn't do a ton, but like, you understand character. You understand what the plot is, for sure. Like, there's no question there. It's not like we are doing Saturday Night where you're like, is there plot? Do we care about these people? This actually has some movement to it. But what I like most about going back and listening to Do I Hear a Waltz is just listening for, yeah, where did he reuse that thing later on? Or, I can hear how that's like the beginning of development of ideation for this song later on. But I think it is so undercooked in terms of Sondheim's contributions that it is, for me, the D tier. 1 year later, 1966. Evening Primrose. Yes, I know it was not written for the stage. Don't come at me. It's still a musicalized bit of material from Stephen Sondheim. The only thing that was arguably musicalized material that I did not put on this list is Dick Tracy. But yeah, you can fight with me later. Okay, Evening Primrose. Yeah, this is there are only 4 songs, but they are gorgeous. They are beautiful pieces. There's a reason that people are pulled to the music from Evening Primrose, and they perform it all the time. Like it gets done in the big Sondheim concerts for a reason. Like it is just stunning. It hits at the heart of something that is very human and very haunting. And like it's kind of a horror story, let's be real. But I ended up giving it a B. What we have is great. It's beautiful, it's really well crafted, it does the job, it resonates correctly with people, but it's underdeveloped. I want more. Why wasn't there more? I'm sure there are reasons, because it was what, 45 minutes long, it was made for TV. A fun little experiment. Um, but I feel like the songs, even these, they're such pocketed off little nuggets, and I wanted something that was more filled out, that actually connected the tissue together between the characters and the moments more. I don't know. I always listen to it and I'm like, oh right, where's the rest of it? Um, so for me, because and like this is weird I enjoy. This is a good kind of weird. It's good. It's weird, but it's undeveloped. It's not for the stage, and it's gorgeous. So for me, Evening Primrose is a B. What? Company, 1970. So if you notice here, just like in terms of years, so we had 54, 57, 59, lots of space in there, 62. But then we had 64, 65, 66. Sondheim was busy. But then we have this jump between 66 and 1970 before we hit Company. Company. Company, everybody. This show is brilliant. I know for some people this is going to be A tier, and for some people this is going to be S tier. For me, this is an S. The first of our S tiers. Because if you're just joining, I limited myself to 3 S tiers. Okay, and rankings, again, if you don't know tier rankings, S, A, B, C, D. So, S tier, the top of the top, the cream of the crop. The music in here is brilliant. The emotional connectivity of the entire score is brilliant. This is, in my opinion, the best of the early Sondheim scores. It is the one that sounds the most like Sondheim doing Sondheim. It's also the way that, okay, so I teach through this lens, musical theater writing through this lens of tracking the emotional arc of a show. And Company is one of those shows that I always go to for, hey, it doesn't have to be a linear structure, right? You don't have to do a classic 3-act structure or 5-act structure. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be a hero's journey or anything like that, right? This show with George Firth's book is what, 11 vignettes? The way the music is crafted and placed, the song spotting is excellent, and it provides us with the emotional arc that we're looking for, the tension and release moments throughout that really string through a journey that is arguably um, a linear emotional journey without being even remotely linear in time, right? It plus like the motifing is so good, and the dissonance is so good. And how many bangers came from that score? Ah, you can't deny it. This company's got to be S tier, everybody. S tier. Unless you disagree with me, in which case, okay, fine. I will take your commentary. Let me know where I'm falling short. Okay. We'll round up to the first set of 10, and then we'll take a quick break. AKA, I need some water. Okay, so 1970 was Company. 1 year later, 1971. Follies. Okay. I know that Follies is not everybody's favorite show. I'm aware. I get it. You do you. Follies is so well crafted. And I know it's weird. Again, this is a good kind of weird, right? The Act 1 and Act 2 are completely and utterly different in their feeling. But the way that Sondheim is backing up, processing. Sondheim is a master pastiche. He can do pastiche like nobody else, I think, in the business because of his range of abilities in pastiche. And this score really showcases that. It sounds like Sondheim. This is a Sondheim score. You have no doubt that's a Sondheim score. But then he writes all these songs that very easily could have been dropped directly into Folly's shows, right? And the way that it is structured to take us through this like sense of nostalgia and of the past into like the deeper emotional layers, peeling back the layers of the relationships all the way until like we get that break. And then suddenly we're in Loveland and we're doing that entire sequence and we've got all these deep emotional raw pieces while amongst the way like we were pulled backwards in time and he does it through the score like the sequence that hey up there, what do you say up there? That whole sequence is so freaking good. And then getting into Loveland and like but the blues song. Why can't I think of the name of it? Put it in the comments. I don't remember the name of it. And it's like I'm losing my mind. Leave you. Like the number of phenomenal songs that come from here, in addition to songs like Broadway Baby, right? All the pastiche work. Just come on. This is a phenomenal show. Yes, it's weird, but does it do the job? You bet it does the job. And is that largely because of Sondheim's work? You bet it's because of Sondheim's work. Sounds like I'm going to give it an S, doesn't it? This was one of the ones I really struggled with. I was going to give it an S, but ultimately I had to go with my own personal tastes on the top three that I put in the S tier. And when I looked at like what would I choose to watch or listen to, it didn't make it into the top three. It's an A tier for me, but like we're at the top of the A tier. Yeah. All right. One more in the first 10. 1973, A Little Night Music. This score is incredible. So for those of you who don't know how much of a nerd I am, a Sondheim nerd in particular, since I turned 35, every year for my birthday, I've been gathering my friends together and not forcing them, everyone chooses to do it, and we do a cold reading and sing through of a Sondheim show. 35, obviously we did Company, right? That was the first year. This past year, we did a little night music. I love this show. I've always loved the show since I was introduced to it in college. That score is brilliant. Utterly brilliant. It is intricate. It has had probably the largest effect on me as a writer in terms of how to properly utilize different song structures in ways that do all of the work you want it to do. While also providing a sense of whimsy, of lightness, of fun, while then devastating you utterly, right? With a song like Send in the Clowns or The Miller's Son. But also, don't we all strive to write an Act One finale like A Weekend in the Country? Isn't that everyone's like go-to? And it's an incredible piece. Not only because it is so well put together and does all the work and it's very funny and light and just like moves the plot along really fast and it's a fantastic musical montage moment that like brings everybody together vocally and leaves you with a cliffhanger of what Act Two is gonna be like. Yes, it does all of that, and also it is essentially a verse chorus song where the chorus is a 32 bar chorus. And that I'm just like masterful stroke. Masterful stroke of genius. And it's a hard type of show to musicalize, right? That script is an aristocracy farce. You don't see those musicalized because, well, they don't really fit musical form. And yet, I will choose to watch that show all the time. It's so good. We're due for a revival, right? No, we just had one? Darn. Okay. For me, this was the other one that was very sad for me to cut out of the S tier. Oh, it hurts. Yes, it's a score I would go and listen to, but I ultimately decided my top three are shows I would choose to see again before night music. And it's because that script's a little. There are things in there where I'm like, oh gosh, this is gross. The misogyny, the lecherous nature. And like I know, I know what we're doing and when we're doing it, but still, it's an adaptation. but it grosses me out just enough. But I'll listen to that score all day, every day. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, so that was A tier. No one's had any commentary. You must all agree with me. I'm thrilled. All right. So to review the first 10, 1954, Saturday Night was a D. West Side Story in 57 was A. 1959, Gypsy, A. 1962, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, B. 1964, Anyone Can Whistle, C. 1965, Do I Hear Wolves, D. 1966, Evening Primrose, B. 1970, Company, the first S of 3. 1971, Follies, a very high A. 1973, A Little Night Music, a very high A. I want to point something out about that later at the end when we get there, but that's the first 10. We've got 10 more to go. Hopefully I'm not too off base with what y'all think. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter. This is my opinion. Ooh, Director Jamie, what you got? I'd love to hear why ranking helps you write your musicals. You have talked about a certain show, how it's teach inspire you, but is there a specific benefit? Oh, no, there's no benefit to ranking them. This is for fun. This this was me thinking, I have a lot of feelings about the Sondheim shows, and I know the internet has a lot of feelings about the Sondheim shows. It'd be fun to do a tier ranking system kind of thing on it and talk about why I think certain shows have more merit or less merit. And also, secretly, my secret hope here is that I will talk about a couple of shows that you've not listened to or given much time or energy to that will interest you enough to go watch it, listen to it, consume it. I know Sondheim's canon so very well, except for the newest one. I didn't get a chance to see it off Broadway, which I was sad about. But beyond that, like, I know these shows, and I don't know that everyone does. But like, Sondheim was my way into musical theater writing to begin with. Plus, I think it's always good to know why you do or do not enjoy something. Sit down with it and study it. This is something I talk about a lot inside our courses. Whenever people are asking me, how do I learn more about these things? Like, take the shows you like, sit down and figure out why they work. What works about them and why. Figure out what doesn't work and why. Do that with the shows you like, the shows you feel okay about, and with shows you don't like. Sit down with the scripts and scores and do it. The best education you can get. Speaking of the collective, hey, if you're not a musical theater writing collective member, come join us. Now is a perfect time to come join us because the course that I am creating will be dripped out and released. It'll be done by the end of the summer and it'll be dripped out and released inside the collective. That's going to follow the structure. It's a video course. We'll follow the structure of the book that I'm writing, which is all about how to write a musical and develop it from start through planning, ideation, all the way through, while giving you all the foundational information you need along the way. Obviously, it doesn't have the live components of the live courses and things, which all are starting again soon, by the way. If you're interested in the Master Accelerator program, the flagship musical theater writing workshop course with the songwriting focus, or Book and Beyond, they are all starting again soon. Mastery Accelerator program is mid-August, end of August for the flagship course, and then Book and Beyond is mid-September. So schedule a call with me. I actually have a call for the flagship course at noon, so I will stay just about to the end of the hour, but not quite. All right, that's enough water. Onward. Last 10. Here we go. 1974. So we ended in 73. We're in 74 now. The Frogs. Y'all, if you don't know the Frogs, you should know the Frogs. It's silly, yes, I understand. It's fun, yes, I understand. It was originally staged at the Yale pool. Yeah. Delightful and weird choices. We love these choices. Here's the deal with the Frogs. It's clever. It's fun. It's weird. I think the revival of the Frogs, what was it, 2004? With Nathan Lane, even improved on the show and the score from the original production. And I love it. I think it's so fun and so good as a one-act piece. My only major gripe with it is that it's underdeveloped. I am so here for this Sondheimian Greek world. I am ready to follow Dionysus. I am ready to go on this journey and to go through the silliness of looking for the greatest writers, right? It's such a delightful way to do this like epic Greek tale through a comedic Sondheimian lens with a score that has no right to be as good as it is. For a show that really was kind of tossed off and not given much time or space. It is such a good score. Like, I get it if you think the frogs sounds are annoying. I get that. I get that. But like, listen to that revival score and tell me that it's not really freaking good. So good. But because it's underdeveloped, you know where it's going. B tier. B tier. Couldn't put it C. I know some of you will put it C tier. Some of you may even put it D tier. I'm gonna have to have a chat with you if you do. All right, 1976, 2 years later. Pacific Overtures. I love this show. I love this show so much. Is it problematic? Yes. Let's just blanketly talk about the fact that it is indeed problematic. Talking about some white folks writing for not their own culture and doing the best they can, but falling short. Blanketly just like put that out there. So obviously for that reason alone, it ain't making its way into the A tier. But I love this show. It is slow, yes. It's kind of slow on purpose though, y'all. It's part of the whole like shebang. If you know the plot, like it's slow for a reason. Also, well, it doesn't have the record for the longest vamp in history, isn't it? During Someone in a Tree, which is such a good song. Oh my gosh, this score is so brilliant. And again, with the pastiches from the Western sound. Oh, ah! But it's so slow. It's so specific. It's incredibly intentional. Every single thing he did in there was intentional. Whether or not it hits is a different story. But this show is clearly not for everyone. It just doesn't work for everybody, and I get it. So for me, even though I love it, with its problematic nature, I put it in the B tier. But it's really good. Listen to that score if you don't know it. It's called A Bowler Hat. Oh, I can't. All right. 1979. You know what happens in 1979. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Come on. Sweeney Todd is his tour de force show. There's only one place Sweeney Todd can go. It's the same letter that Sweeney starts with. Gotta go in the S tier. Why? Such a good question. Thank you for asking. It's a masterpiece. It's an utter masterpiece. And for a show that is 99% scored through, I believe, the way that he builds character, world, tone, motif, and the motif uses, the darkness and the comedy, taking a show that is at its heart, like the type of show, the type of story this is a melodrama, and brings it to life in a way that feels like it has weight and gravitas. Yes, we laugh, but we also are horrified, and we also get over our horrors until we don't, because in the personal relationships, that's where we feel. And we feel so weird about the fact that we're feeling about these people at all. But at the same time, we have some of the most sweeping and gorgeous music that I think Sondheim has ever written. That show changed the way I saw musical theater. It was the first piece of musical theater that I sat down and dissected academically for a paper. I intended to, oh, this is interesting. Google's yelling at me. Hopefully my internet didn't cut out. Huh. Am I still here? Okay, it doesn't look like it. Hiccuped. Great. Weird. I set out in that paper to dissect the entire opening sequence of Sweeney Todd, and I only got like 12 measures in. I wrote an entire 10-page paper on like 16 bars because it so brilliantly sets up the rest of the show. It is stunning in its sound, but also in its scope. Sweeney Todd, S tier, no questions. Onward! 1981. Merrily We Roll Along. Now, if you're going to sit there and tell me that this revival, this recent revival on Broadway, made Merrily We Roll Along work, I'm going to fight you. I'm not actually going to fight you, but I want to. I actually don't want to. But Merrily We Roll Along has always worked. Just because the original production was not well received, and I have questions about the way it was produced. Sorry, Hal Prince. I just like the production and direction on the original. I remember. I see why close. I get it. But that's a phenomenal piece of theater. It's really good. Like an epic story. Yes, it's told in a strange backwards fashion. Okay, what of it? This is theater. This is musical theater. Our buy-in? Like, come on. Get out of here. Don't come to me with that. If you accept the last 5 years working, you better accept Merrily We Roll Along, right? Which was made on the backs of Merrily. Okay, so yes, it's so good. The score is fantastic. And I do think it takes time to get it right on stage, but that's not because the show was poorly written in any way, shape, or form. Pardon me, please. There is a screaming fire truck. Um, it took time to get right on stage, and that's fine. But the writing has always been fantastic. That is a fantastic score. Now, for me, it it fell in A category. It's in the A. Because I don't think it quite has what we need for the satisfaction of the S tier. But that's people should do that show. That's great. Okay, 1984. Where are we? How many more do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more. 1984. Sunday in the Park with George. I've never had any other show ever, any other musical ever, hit me the way, like as an artist, the way that this show does. I think this show speaks to the artist experience better than any other musical that currently exists. Yes, I said it. Ooh, fight me. Because that struggle of creation and finishing, balancing personal life, the like passing down of historic artistic knowledge into future art, and how we have to balance it with commercialism. Like the whole putting it together sequence is brilliant. Plus, we have some of the most moving music. Sorry for the pun. Move on. Finishing the Hat. This is a show that gutted me in a way where I didn't realize just how much I resonated with being an artist until I watched it. That being said, it's got an incredible score with phenomenal songs. They're not all phenomenal. This album has songs I skip. There are things I just don't need to listen to again. I really don't need to hear the Dogs song more times. You know, but the ones that are there that are really like holding down the fort. Plus, every time I hear the opening chords. Okay, so I saw the recent Sondheim show, the review show on Broadway, Old Friends, and they opened the show with the Sondheim, with the Sunday in the Park chords opening, with the balance, the light, that whole thing, and I just immediately started crying. It's like, well, there it is. It's got that kind of power to it. And the song Sunday is so brilliantly put together. A tier. High A tier. Ugh. If you're not an artist, I wonder, do you like this show? 1987, we got 5 more friends. So to review, hold on. We did our first 10. So the first 5 of this 10, 74 was The Frogs, B. Pacific Overtures in 76, B. 79, Sweeney Todd, S. 81, Merrily We Roll Along, A. Sunday in the Park with George in 84, A. So our last 5, 1987, Into the Woods. Oh, come on. You know this is going in the S tier. Get out of here. Get out of here. Talk about a show, again, almost entirely scored through. So many incredible songs. It's poignant. It's brilliant. It is, the way that the motifing is done is insanely good. I developed my musical mapping technique out of my study of Into the Woods. That's where it came from. Because when I started to realize what Sondheim had done, especially with motif, right? Even to just like go super basic with it, the bean theme and its reuses throughout the entire show. That blew my mind. It's like, wait, you can tell a story with such depth in a way that the audience will not recognize consciously, but will know subconsciously. And then digging even deeper, just all the layers of what he did and how the score reflects perfectly what's happening in the book, matches each of the characters, and gives us some of the most interesting, poignant, and funny music in the entire canon. Come at me, bro. Into the Woods. S. Oh my god, so good. 1990. Assassins. This show is weird. It's delightful though. It's tight. If you've never seen Assassins, it's a 90-minute one act. Is it even 90? I don't know. And it's so good. It is so weird. And it feels like Sondheim was like, you know what? I've had a good career. Let me just do what I want for a second. Let's see what happens. And that's kind of what Assassins feels like. And it works. That's a show that came out in 1990, but has been revived on Broadway twice, plus a major concert. And an off-Broadway revival recently, like 3 years ago. Plus, it's played in London a bunch. Why does this show keep coming back if it's not just incredibly poignant and resonant? And it is, with some music that just like really gets you thinking as a musician, as well as does exactly the character and plot work you needed to do at the right moment. The Ballad of Booth, so good. I mean, the opening, everybody's got the right to be happy. Just the way the music and the lyric work in there. Unworthy of Your Love, that, like, the closest thing to a Sondheim pop song I've ever heard. I'm unworthy of your love. Some really great hooks in there. Another national anthem, and also just like the theme of the show, like the death of the American dream. Is it the death or is it the disillusionment? And what people do with it, whether it's successful or not. Oh my god, it is such a good show. If you don't know, you gotta know that show. Listen to the recent revival, the off-Broadway revival. That's a great recording. Assassins A. A for Assassins. Okay, 1994, Passion. I have talked to a few people about the fact that I was going to be doing this tier ranking list, and every single one of them mentioned, hey, what are you going to do with Passion? And then they put a ranking after it. Several of them said, that's D tier, right? Some of them said, that's S tier, right? And I think that is the perfect summation of how people feel about Passion. Passion is so underrated. In my opinion, I think it's incredibly underrated. That's a gorgeous piece of theater. It's an operetta, essentially, like a dramatic operetta. Again, the motifing, but also it gives you just enough of the musical theater feel for what you need, knowing that you're going to go see a Sondheim piece, a Sondheim musical, but it is giving you so much more sweep and also grounding it. So okay, so Fosca, right? It's the Fosca story, but it's not the grand opera sweep. It is enough sweep to really get a sense of the overwhelmingness of the feelings that are the center of the show, while also taking the score and, like, it is not grand sweep. It is a very grounded sweep. You feel like you can relate to the characters while also not being able to relate to their stories and their choices at all. That is a fine line to walk. The London cast recording from, I don't know what year. That's my favorite one. That's an incredible piece of theater. Incredible. I've always wanted to see it, but alas, I'm waiting for a revival. Broadway. We're reviving every other Sondheim show. Let's go. Bringing Passion back. So good. A tier. I know. Fight me on that one. 2008. Wait a second. It's from 1994. Our next one's in 2008. What happened in between? Well, Sondheim had some personal life, found some joy, enjoyed his success, and then had 3 iterations of the same show, which ended up being, in 2008, Roadshow. If you do not know Roadshow, I understand. If you don't know its iterations previously, then you haven't read the Sondheim tomes. Read the books. Him talking about that show and pulling us through the journey, because when those books came out in 2010 and 11, Roadshow was 2008, and so he had just finished the long process of putting those shows together, the different iterations. Hearing him talk about it is so very interesting, because something that we discuss all the time here on the channel, in my courses, in the community, is at what point do you know the story is or is not going to work, right? We talk about how, yes, you could technically musicalize any story, but it has to work. And I don't know that Roadshow ever fully worked. Even listening to the score, I'm like, I've read it. I get it. I know what he was trying to do, well, what they were trying to do, but I don't think they accomplished the goal in any of the iterations of the show. And that's hard to hear and hard to see when it comes to a master of the craft. That right there at the end, he couldn't take a story that he absolutely loved and has always loved and make it function for the audience, because it's about the audience, right? And every time I listen to that show, I'm like, yeah, there's some good music in here. Like, so some of the moments are sometimes at his best even, but I'm never satisfied listening to that score or reading the show. I'm not satisfied. There's a lack of that classic Sondheimian satisfaction of, and I'm not even talking about like cleverness or like the right harmonics. I mean, just in terms of character and plot, I never feel satisfied. Roadshow for me is a C. That might be controversial. I don't know. And then if there was a gap between 94 and 2008, what about the gap between 2008 and 2023? When we get to the posthumous production of Here We Are. So Here We Are, a show that I unfortunately did not get an opportunity to see. Schedule and then pricing got me out. But I have listened to, and again, a long and arduous process in putting that show together. Like reading through what the development was of this project, which he had ideated on since what, late 90s, early 2000s, and then for it to finally get to where it got to for Here We Are, which Sondheim, when he died, still was calling Square One, which I like Square One better as the title. Sorry. Yeah, I think you can just read in the development process that they never found it. It's weird. In a weird I like, but I don't know that the music is giving you what you're looking for. I don't know. Maybe it's just not to my taste. It is a very specific story type, set of characters, and that type of like pseudo absurdism is just, I don't know, it didn't do it for me. Maybe I would have felt differently had I seen it. I don't know. Maybe I'll look up a slang tutorial. But for me, didn't quite make it happen. So it's a C tier. Oh, and that's number 20. What? All right, that's all the shows. Hold on. So our back half, our back 10 were The Frogs, B. Pacific Overtures, B. Sweeney Todd, S. Merrily We Roll Along, A. Sunday in the Park with George, A. Into the Woods, S. Assassins, A. Passion, A. Roadshow, C. And Here We Are, C. So to take us from S all the way down, I'll just do it in that instead of chronological order to review. And do you all agree with me on these things? Do you vehemently disagree with me? Let me know. Okay, so from S, don't forget I limited myself to 3 on the S tier. Company, Sweeney Todd, Into the Woods. Those are my 3 S tiers, and they have been for a long time. A tier for Sondheim. Passion, West Side Story, Gypsy, Follies, A Little Night Music, Merrily We Roll Along, Sunday in the Park with George, and Assassins. 5, 6, 7. That's 8 in the A tier and 3 in the S tier. Yes, that does mean that over half of Sondheim's canon is in the S and A tiers. Does that mean that I cheated a little bit? Probably, but I don't know. Fight me. B tier. A fight thing happened all the way to the Forum, Evening Primrose, The Frogs, and Pacific Overtures. I find that a lot of people who are not huge Sondheim nerds or fans don't know those shows. Those are so worth knowing. Know them. Know those scores. Go mine them for their music, for the character work, for the development. C tier, Roadshow, Here We Are, and Anyone Can Whistle. And then D tier are two that sound like studies. Saturday Night and Do I Hear a Waltz? And that's what I got for you. Those are my Sondheim tier rankings. We'll see if the internet agrees with me or yells at me. um, just as a reminder here, I'll stay on till 5 of before I have to hop off for a flagship call. Now's a perfect time to join us in the collective. Come have conversations with me about this. I love seeing y'all here live with me on the YouTubes, but like I don't get to see your faces. We don't get to interact with our voices, and I do enjoy that. So if you're able to, come join us in the collective. Come learn all the info. Be in community. Don't do this stuff alone. Writing musicals hard. Even Sondheim, it's hard. Oh, what I want to say. Look at Sondheim's journey here. Okay, I'm just going to go through the 20 rankings. Look at the arc of where shows were less good and where they were very good. Okay, D, A, B, C, D, B, S, A, B, B, S, S, C, C. Isn't that interesting? Had such a good start in his career. Figured some stuff out, made gold happen, figured some more stuff out, and then had the peak of his career, and then it tapered at the end. It's so interesting. It's almost like a 3-act structure. Weird. Anyway, I think it's interesting. If you think it's interesting, come chat with me in the collective. Or come take one of the courses. Again, all the courses are coming up for a new round. Mastery Accelerator program, the flagship musical theater writing workshop course, the 20-week, and Book and Beyond, the 12-week, starts in mid-September. So if you're interested in taking any of the courses, just have a convo with me. They are free and they're fun. That's what I got for you. Anyone got thoughts or questions? Reactions? Anyone gonna yell at me and say, Michael, you're wrong about it all? In which case, I respect that. I'm not wrong, but like, I respect it if you think I am. Great. No, doesn't look like we have any thoughts. Oh, well, I'm sure on the replay people will have thoughts. They always do. So, my friends, thank you for being here with me today. Just so you know, next week will be one of the edited videos. It's a long one that's coming out. It's going to be a very important watch for the songwriters, particularly lyricists, but I would say all songwriters should watch it. It's a good one. In 2 weeks, we're going to be doing our next live Write With Me. That was fun. That was a lot of fun last week. So come and join me and do a Write With Me in 2 weeks. And I don't know what's after that. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, we have a songwriting challenge coming up. If you were around with me last year, last August, I did this for the first time. It's a songwriting challenge. It's over multiple days. I originally planned 3 last year. We ended up doing 4 days. So it's 4 days, but like 3 curriculum chunks to it. And that starts that following week. So that starts on Wednesday, August 6th. Get on my newsletter so you will get all the information about it as it comes up, and so you can sign up for the replays and all the things. But the announcement and being able to sign up for the challenge will all come through the newsletter. So make sure you are on the newsletter. You can do that by getting the North Star question sets, which are down below. Use them, please. They're in the book, I promise. Okay, that's what I got for you, friends. So thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing your faces. Oh, I don't get to see your faces. I look forward to seeing your commentary in